Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Belly Up Sports Fantasy Football Live 200 from Las Vegas. My name is David Westergreen. I am joined in the Elite Racing Network booth tonight by David Huckleberry, the producer, Zach Evans, my co-broadcaster. We'll be doing some talking tonight about this series as it makes its return to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Zach, the site of last season's championship race, which was won by Matthew Weeks, and the championship, of course, won by Blake Reynolds in the thrilling and crazy last lap finish that was a bit chaotic, carnage all over the place. Do you expect that we'll see the same kind of adventurous race tonight?
Yeah, probably. And I say that because certainly you can get some green flag racing. I think we'll see at least one long green flag run here tonight. But at the start of the race and especially at the end of the race, guys are going to start taking chances. And yeah, I get it. It's Vegas. It's fun to take chances and make those gambles and those risks. But they tend to not pay off very well if you're on the losing end of those deals, and I have a feeling we'll have a couple of those tonight here in the Fantasy Live Football 200.
I think you're absolutely right on that. We'll take a quick look at the championship standings while qualifying wraps up as they run. Remember, race winners are locked into the championship playoffs, and right now Blake Reynolds, Zach Novak, Matthew Weeks would be and Ethan Stanley would be the race winners locked in on this page. Notables are guys that are outside the chase bubble right now: Tyler Fody and Ethan Burrell. Right below it right now. So that battle for those points at 16th is going to be a really interesting storyline going down the rest of the way this season. But, I think there will be a lot of points positions held because I think we'll see quite a few repeat winners this year. We've already had several guys kind of win multiple races. Zach Novak, of course, has picked up 2 wins. I think those points positions will be the premium versus race wins.
And of note on that standings graphic, you saw the asterisk beside Zach Novak's name, but of course that is, as of today, breaking news, no longer the case, no longer an open driver. He will be securing the charter belonging to Jeff Green, and he will be, not that he's had any trouble making races so far this season, but he'll be locking in as a charter driver moving forward the rest of this 2025B season.
That's right. So also the rookie standings there, Zach Novak and Daniel Gore, the real 2 contenders. One of the rookies, though, had a really good qualifying run. We'll take you to the starting lineup right now to address that. But our 40 Racewear Pole Award winner, the sponsor of all of our Pole Awards, 40 Racewear, that'll be Trey Holmes in the Pro Edge Racing number 23. Alongside him will be Tyler Fody in the 40 car. You'll have Jaden Racimus with a really good qualifying run there in P3, and this fellow rookie alongside Daniel Gore in P4. Ethan Stanley and Scott Crump make up row 3, and Chad Frankenfield and Zach Novak make up row 4. Leighton Norgard and Gilberto Javier, row 5, and Blake Reynolds and Ethan Burrell will round out the top dozen.
After that, you have Justin Vandermarle and Josh Adams on the 7th row. Ryan Schold will roll off 15th. Caleb Pecumer starting in the 16th position. R.C. Enerson joining us tonight. He will be starting 17th. Jesse Racimus starting in the 18th position. Jonathan Cutlip will roll off 19th, and rounding out the top 20 will be David Tooker. Gerald Campbell starting 21st. Seth Rawls 22nd. Series champion Justin Wadsworth 23rd. Ryan Gable will start 24th.
Another somewhat lackluster start for Matthew Weeks in 25th. He'll have to come from the back to repeat as the winner of this Las Vegas race. Paul Mikolajczyk alongside him in 26th. Dusty Dewar and Brent Jones in row 14 with Sean Judson and Ray Bracey in row 15. You've got Kyle Hanshaw and Kurt Gibson in row 16. Michael Goodman, Harrison Tallon, row 17. Michael Hosack and Gavin Higgins in row 18. And then 2 round out the field here tonight. You've got Carlos Acosta, Garrison Hogan, Corey Abbott, Ty McIntosh, Johnny Thomas, and Gavin Hibbs make up your 42 car field this evening. Everybody who showed up tonight makes the race. No DNQs. We'll have 42 guys going for the win. And I do want to call back to it. How about Jaden Racimus, P3 in qualifying? That's a really good effort.
Absolutely a stellar effort in qualifying for Jaden Racimus, driving that White, yellow, and black number 1 you see on the inside of the second row by virtue of qualifying in that third position. We'll see if that can translate to some race pace here as we get ready for 200 miles at the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
A lot of the guys who were really fast in that championship race, not necessarily up near the front of the field early. Obviously, Tyler Fody in that race, but Blake Reynolds, Matthew Weeks, Jonathan Cutlip well back in the field, going to have to charge their way forward if they want to have repeat success from last season's finale. So we'll have to see if those guys can make their way forward, or if Trey Holmes, Tyler Fody, and some of these other drivers up front can take it to those competitors that have been dominating all season in those Toyotas. Pace car heading towards pit road, and it'll turn it over to the hands of Trey Holmes. We'll get our first restart of the race here and send him off for 134 laps. Into the restart zone goes Holmes. Onto the loud pedal he goes, and we are racing from Las Vegas in the Belly Up Sports Fantasy Football 200. It's Tyler Fody on the outside with help from Daniel Gore. They fling these cars into turn 1, down over the bumps. We'll have to see if anybody gets loose. Looks like everyone's all right. The discussion pre-race was that cold tires going over the bumps in Las Vegas, and they're very infamous, were going to be a little bit treacherous, but everybody made it through turn 1 okay.
So far, so good, and you could see those bumps here on the camera as they go through turns 1 and 2. You'll really notice, especially on that lower line, how the car gets upset right about here. And that's going to be a point of contention for these drivers, especially, like you say, on cold tires when the pressures are down and you're more susceptible to that bottoming out effect.
Fody clears Trey Holmes momentarily entering turn 3, not for long. Holmes back to the bottom of the racetrack. They're out of turn 3, coming through to the tri-oval. It is Holmes who leads lap 2. Fody led lap 1. The Toyotas teaming up on the bottom. Ethan Stanley will jump to the outside of Jaden Racines and try to push Tyler Fody through. Zach, one thing that was definitely evident as Daniel Gore slides up, they go 3 wide for 5th, was that these cars are really going to struggle if you run the outside for multiple laps. I feel like that is detrimental to the tires on these cars, and that tire wear will be a massive factor. The cars are extremely tight tonight. A lot of push in this car. You'll find yourself over-rotating the wheel, burning and scrubbing your tires repeatedly. I think it'll lead to some wall contact in the middle stages of the run. It's going to lead to some folks having really big tire wear, and if you can manage to save your tires, it'll result in you having a really good long run pace and being able to pass some cars.
And that's something else we noticed in that season finale 1 season ago as well. You can find some speed in that second lane in short bursts, but if you get those long green flag runs like we discussed, that's where you really pay the price for it. And I think you're absolutely right. It's going to be important to be able to wrap that white line around the corners as much as possible during these long green flag runs.
Frankenfield around Jaden Racines for the 4th position. Meanwhile, up front, Ethan Stanley presents to the inside of Tyler Fody. Going to try to move the Channel 199 Toyota back up into 2nd as Fody works that Lake Norman Chevy up top. Former teammates, those two, battling it out. Still a good amount of respect, and I believe Stanley still works with Lake Norman Motorsports in the lower series here in the Elite Racing League, but right now they are enemies, and they're following behind Trey Holmes, a guy who, we talked about tire saving. This is one of those guys that really likes to take it easy early in the run, save his tires, and be there at the end of the run. Right now, Trey Holmes is really driving it hard, holding the lead. This is some of the most speed I've seen out of Trey Holmes in this series since his race win a couple of seasons ago at Homestead.
Far be it from me to say this as a loyal Tar Heel, but especially in light of certain events on Saturday, you have to wonder if the change to the black and red and joining the 9,000 other black and red cars in the field might be a positive here for Trey Holmes.
Right, he was running the North Carolina blue in car 23, and switching away from that after their loss, I believe, is Monday night. is what Zach's speaking to. If you're not familiar with the football world, but don't worry, Zach. My team also lost, so we're in it together.
Yeah, but did you lose by 34?
No, we didn't. Felt like 34,
No.
but no. The battle remains on for second. Another battle in this field, but for the 10th spot between Blake Reynolds and Zach Novak is one we could highlight as well. A couple of our race favorites tonight, and Novak working the bottom lane. Reynolds trying to work that upper outside groove, and Novak's going to get it. Reynolds might have got a piece of the wall.
If he didn't, he came awfully close, and that's the opposite of what we were talking about, right? Oh, you got to want to run the bottom. You got to want to save tire. He is not doing that right now, and I don't know if that's by design or if he just... I have to assume it's by design. Surely somebody of Blake Reynolds' caliber wouldn't have missed the corner by that much, but man, not sure that's going to be the ticket to success there.
I think as the battle for second continues on between Fody and Stanley, I think Reynolds is playing with house money a little bit, right? He's got a race win in his pocket. He's leading the points right now. He feels like this race will come to him. He can afford to take some shots, try to go up to the outside lane, see what works. He tried to make that work on the first lap, wasn't really able to go anywhere. Track position appears to be at a premium in this race. It looks like passing is pretty difficult, and so Reynolds trying out some different moves, seeing what works. He'll be able to bank that for later on, as the battle for second is slowed up enough that Chad Frankenfield is fired to the inside of Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fody.
And who doesn't love seeing Chad Frankenfield 3 wide? This time it's going to, almost work out for him. A huge run out of turn 4 there for Ethan Stanley.
Use that outside lane, even though he was kind of running the middle that time, and Stanley clears by Fody and Chad as well. Chad working back to the inside of Tyler Fody now. He'll try to clear off turn 2, and he will. Fody might have gotten tight and almost got a piece of the wall. I think the tires are starting to come off that 40 car a little bit. It's going to be really difficult for Fody to continue forward when he's pretty much stayed in the second groove the entire start of this race. His teammate Scott Crump now alongside.
And the thing is, if we do get a green flag run to start this, we were talking about before we went on the air, you're probably looking at going somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 laps on this first green flag run. If it does stay green, we are a long way from that point.
Yeah, that's 30 or so laps till the end of the stage where we will award the points. Here's the format for tonight. Lap 45 is where we'll give out those precious stage points, and if you burn off your tires here in the early part of this first run and we happen to get into a green flag feel, it's going to really damage your chances to make that stage work. Now, what Tyler Fody could consider doing is trying to flip that stage, pit around 40 or so, utilize the undercut and try to pick up some track position that way, because it does appear that passing is going to be at a premium. It's going to be tough to pass, so you need to get track position any way you can. You might as well strategize your way into it, because passing cars on pit roads just as good as passing them on the racetrack.
They all count the same. You're absolutely right, and I think that is going to be something we will have to look at as we get close to that stage point. And basically the end of lap 45 puts you at the 1/3 mark of this race. So at that point, do you like you say, short pit if we do go green that long, and sacrifice potential stage points to get that undercut and get out front? Because again, we do not have the cautions at the end of the stages here in the Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series. So it could be a move that pays off if you just kind of flip the script and get that track position by putting on the fresher tires a little bit earlier than the competition.
That works that way very well. Paying attention to a couple of battles in the mid-pack here while we discuss potential pit strategies in the future. Justin Wadsworth working to the inside of David Tooker at the moment. Gerald Campbell and Jesse Racimus were just side by side a minute ago. That has been sorted. Up front, it is Blake Reynolds alongside Leighton Norgard. He and Zach Novak have made short work of Norgard and Gilberto Javier. They're going after Daniel Gore right now, and well, we watched quick shifts made by Ray Bracey over on the Bojo Racing YouTube channel, and Zach, we saw Reynolds and Gore make a little bit of contact last week. They're about to race together here once again after the Southern 500.
And hopefully, we have a lot more racing room here at Las Vegas, right? So hopefully we will not see a repeat of that incident 1 week ago while you were and James Watson were on the call for that one, I see Daniel Gore has once again brought out that beautiful throwback scheme that he ran 1 week ago as well, and would love to see it stay pointed in the right direction here tonight.
As the team owner of the old 69 car, I've been more than pleased with Daniel Gore. He's been able to step in and compete with these elite racing Cup Series guys at a high level. He's also been really, really strong in the 2003 series on Tuesdays. Just finished second at Darlington last week. Here comes Reynolds to the outside of Gore. Probably the battle, but it looks like Reynolds is going to make short work of Daniel Gore right now. Looks like Gore's kind of keeping it on the bottom, saving his tires. And up front, Scott Crump, Tyler Fode side by side. Zach Novak just went around. Jesse Racimus. Those Channel 199 Toyotas are starting to come to life.
And you're starting to see some cars moving around, trying to adjust to that tire wear, trying to figure out where they can make passes, where they can find some speed here. Because that is the catch-22. It's easy to say, oh, wrap the bottom, save tire. But as you lose some of that pace in those tires, and more importantly, lose that grip, it becomes harder and harder to hold the bottom and maintain speed while doing it. So that's where you're going to start seeing some of these guys explore all of the lanes here around this 1.5 mile speedway. And we'll see how that plays out as we get roughly halfway, we think, through this green flag run. And here we have a battle for the lead. Trey Holmes, Ethan Stanley.
Stanley working that top lane, trying to make his way around Trey Holmes in a battle for the lead for the first time today. Holmes side drafts and pulls back that 91 car up top, but that outside line, probably the preferred line is for passing right now. That inside, the place where you kind of want to save your tires and try to keep the momentum up. Stanley pulls Holmes and will clear the 23 car lead change. Give it to Ethan Stanley here on lap 22. Channel 199 Toyota bypasses the Pro Edge Racing Toyota just in front of another one of those black and red cars. Chad Frankenfield has entered the fray for the lead. It's been a few races, Zach, but I feel like Chad Frankenfield is good for a couple of these this season, where he jumps up in the front, he's battling for the race lead for a good portion of the race, and at some point you'd think he'll pull one off and finish the race off, but it hasn't happened in a couple of seasons.
It hasn't happened in more than a couple of seasons. I mean, we're in triple digits at this point. The winless drought for Chad Frankenfield has been off discussed here. And the Bellias, trouble!
Scott Crump and Blake Reynolds. Reynolds is spinning to the inside wall. Crump hard into the outside wall.
No caution.
No caution, no caution. We stay green. Crump's car is broken, though, and they're still trying to wreck to avoid. Reynolds and Crump crash hard on the back straightaway. Everybody sneaking around the 90 car. I don't even see Reynolds anymore. Yeah, Reynolds has huge damage on the left front fender of the 66. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. It looked like they got together coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look here at the Revelist Photography replay machine to see what happened here in this battle. Right around the top 5, you see the 66 of Blake Reynolds go to the inside there. Scott Crump, and Reynolds just drifts up into Scott Crump. Maybe was expecting Crump to go a little bit closer to the wall at that point in the corner, but they weren't quite the corner exit yet. I'm not sure. Those two cars coming together, and unfortunately, as they were gathering it up, I think Crump's going to collect the outside wall there, and that's where he's going to get the damage, and obviously damage to the 66 on the initial impact as well. We'll take another look here. There's the contact. And then
follow right Crump. He's going to hit the wall right there. Daniel Gore did a wonderful job to avoid that. So did a Leighton Norgard, who gave Daniel the room. And then you see Josh Adams, Gerald Campbell, Racimus, Matthew Weeks, Ryan Gable all sneaking their way around Scott Crump. Great job by these guys not to bring out a yellow, but definitely not what Scott Crump and Blake Reynolds wanted to see there, as I think they would have probably preferred that one of them bring out the yellow flag.
No, for sure. It's now they're trying to limp these wounded cars around, hoping for a caution so they can effect some repairs, as we will see a tally issue to the 66 of Blake Reynolds for that incident.
And that's 2 tallies in 2 weeks for Reynolds, and I think you and I thought he might have been able to rack up an extra 1 or 2 last week, but ultimately just the one, but 2 tallies in 2 weeks, that does start to accumulate additional points penalties. And for the points leader, that's not what you want to see. Oh,
No,
caution
it's
is out
not.
now. Front straightaway. I've got a spin on the front stretch. It is Ryan Gable that is around. You know, it's way up in front here. It's Ryan Gable that's backwards on the front straightaway. I think this was a single car incident. Yep.
So it looks like he's going to get loose here on the exit of turn 4. Maybe somebody else gets a piece of it on the way by here. Is that Brent Jones? Does he catch a piece right
Oh,
there?
man.
Unfortunately for Brent Jones. But I think otherwise you're absolutely right. Everybody else is able to take evasive measure. Oh, gets into the wall there.
Was that Garrison Hogan that got a piece of the wall? Gavin Hibbs.
Gavin Hibbs in the 95 with the white number on the roof. He goes to the right to miss it, and he's got to catch a piece of the wall here.
That's not too bad. I think that might be okay.
He might be all right. He might be all right.
Brent might be okay too. It really might just be Ryan Gable that has big time damage in this wreck. Though Brent's got a meatball, so never mind on that.
Oh, well, he was okay. So he was just in that replay. Good. Let's look at Brent Jones here, because it looks like he had.
I think he had additional contact after.
Yeah, it looked like his car was stopped against the outside wall there. Does he get into somebody trying to rejoin?
That's exactly David Tucker. Oh,
that's no good.
Didn't know he was out there. It's a move I've done. You think you're either through the wreck or kind of finished with the wreck and rejoin up the racetrack, and you're thinking about the wreck, right? The damage to your car. You're not necessarily paying attention to the drivers around you. The spotter and the iRacing spotter are pretty spotty, especially once the yellows come out. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. At that point, I'm sure the spotter was too busy telling him who to pass or get behind. It was not saying car high, but clearly car high.
Right. It stinks because I don't. That's definitely unintentional for Brent. Tough contact with David Tucker. But while we get our yellow flag here, let's go ahead and jump to our ads, and we'll come back for the restart.
Since 2010, race fans have had one burning question. When will the Xfinity Series return to Worldwide Technology Raceway? You asked, NASCAR delivered. On Saturday, September 6, 2025, the magic is back. The track that launched the legendary careers of Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. is now ready to write that next chapter. We're going to introduce you to a new crop of future champions and Hall of Famers. And in the process, we'll create more of the greatest moments in racing history. NASCAR Weekend 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs, the Confluence Music Festival, and now 250 miles of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 2 incredible races, 1 challenging track, a 3-day party of epic proportions. Go to www.raceway.com and lock in your weekend racing and camping packages for as little as $20 down.
We are back at Las Vegas for the Belly Up Sports Fantasy Football Live 200 for this Elite Racing Network. And Ethan Stanley retains the lead after pit stops. That effectively ends the strategy in this race. It is a one stop from here. You're going to run about 50 laps a pop and pit, and then you're going to put tires on it and run 50 more laps. I think things are going to get a little bit chaotic with those stage points on the line on top of all that.
Oh, that's where this strategy will come in. Who's got to push hard to get out front in these next 14 laps? Who will play the long game and try to prepare in case we do get that 100-lap green flag run?
Yep, pace car is off. Ethan Stanley and Trey Holmes bring us into the restart zone. Stanley waits to the very end of the zone to get going, and it snookers the outside line a little bit. It gives Chad Frankenfield a nice run to the inside of Trey Holmes. Zach Novak up into third. He drops to the bottom in front of Tyler Fode to try and work around Holmes in that 23 car. The pole sitter falling back a little bit here through turn 2. He's passed by Novak. Here comes Tyler Fode through. Stanley Clean Air to the lead. Chad Frankenfield uses that outside lane to try and move forward. The battle is here for fifth. It's Holmes, Fody, Racimus, Gore, Jonathan Cutlip, and Justin Vandermarl into the top 10.
Wow, Jaden Racimus really firing it down into the inside. They're still hanging out in the top 10. We talked about that good qualifying run for him, and so far he's been able to keep it up near the front. Has lost obviously some positions from that third place starting position, but holding his own so far tonight.
Doing a great job. Vandermarl, the top lane around Daniel Gore and Jaden Racimus. Both. Norgard sees that. He's going to jump up there around his teammate Racimus. See if old Leighton Norgard can try to make something happen as he follows Vandermarl up to the top lane. That outside lane working really well right now, but obviously you mentioned it earlier, that's going to pay big time dividends if this race does have a green flag run to it afterwards. Gore to the top to block Norgard. That'll open the bottom for Cutlip. This battle continues for 7th spot. Here comes Ethan Burrell into the picture, the 37 car. He jumps to the outside of Jaden Racimus. You've got R.C. Anderson in this battle. Ryan Schold is in this battle. Everybody trying to go after those stage points.
Anderson's got to take it 3 wide here. Racimus got a little bit stacked up. It turned in just a little too early into 1. Racimus has got to be able to get to the outside and get out of that 3 wide situation. But Anderson on the move in car 50.
Yep, he's 11th still on the outside looking in, but R.C. Anderson's missed a couple of races. He's not really running for points. He's out here for pride, for wins when he can go out here and get them. He's certainly no stranger to winning in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series, is that driver 50 R.C. Anderson, so I'd be on the lookout for him. Burrell tightens up in the wake behind Daniel Gore. That'll open the door for Leighton Norgard. This battle is for 9th. Ryan Schold, Anderson just on the outside of those stage points. 9 laps to go in the stage.
And you see Norgard push up just a little bit on corner exit there. That takes away the run he was hoping to get. That's got to allow Burrell to get through. That's got to allow Ryan Schold in that 4 car to pull alongside Leighton Norgard.
That's the battle for the stage points right there. Ryan Schold is just on the outside of the points, looking in. Schold looking to the outside. He's going to have the room to get alongside of Leighton Norgard. And you know, I've run with Norgard quite a bit on the Tuesday series. That guy is super clean. He'll run. He'll give you a good push. He'll run hard, race you hard, but he's never gonna put you in a bad spot. And it's real easy to race around a guy like a Leighton Norgard. And I gotta throw him some flowers here while we got him on screen while he's racing really hard with these guys around him. But you'll note, right? Those guys all trust running around a Leighton Norgard. They don't feel like they are in a bad spot. He can go outside, inside, dicing and slicing, and they're all making it out okay. Oh, sideways goes Gore. I think that was, well, as I'm talking about it.
Well,
I think Gore got loose before Norgard got there, but I'd have to see a replay.
Well, I have a feeling we are going to see just that. We'll take a look here on the Rebelist Photography replay machine here. A little bit of a bump, a little bit more of a bump. I don't know that Norgard would have been a huge fan there of Gore changing lanes in front of him on the back stretch there going into the corner. Didn't really give Norgard a lot of options going into turn 3.
Yeah, I think a little bit of got cleared late, moved up, and then at that point, Norgard they bounced off each other and got stuck together. But the timing on that is truly amazing as Norgard sends my car into turn 3 and sends him backwards. Danny Gore is going to have to make up some ground in car 69. He's back to 22nd.
And of course, I'm sure Daniel Gore is fuming right now because he definitely feels like he's been on the wrong side of situations like that more often than not. Obviously, no damage from that or anything like that. We didn't have a caution, we didn't have an incident, but he's definitely been pinballed around a little bit so far this season. And regardless of where you feel the fault lies on that particular, it's another case of Daniel Gore losing a lot of positions on the racetrack after some contact with a fellow competitor.
And he'll work it out. He always does. He's a really talented driver. Up here, call out Justin Vandermarl before he starts to fall back. He utilized that outside line to start to fly forward. and got up into 5th spot. His teammate Jonathan Cutlip has bypassed him, and Trey Holmes, Ethan Burrell are trying to work back around Justin Vandermarl here, but a really good position for a guy who is currently in the playoffs as they run in terms of points. Vandermarl's had a really good start to the season. This 54 car is continuing to be strong here at Las Vegas. Another car right there that's been strong all day is the pole sitter Trey Holmes, and I'm intrigued to see if he can get back up here and challenge for this race lead. He very clearly was saving his stuff on the very opening couple of laps of this run, but it seems like he's trying to utilize the outside line and get some of those spots back.
Closing
Who to
in
go on
on
the stage?
I was about to say closing in on the end of the stage here. And it looks like Ethan Stanley's got to be in good shape to pick up the stage win here, about a 0.4 of a second advantage on Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, the battle here is for 10th in the stage. It is Ryan Schold 9th, R.C. Anderson 10th, Jesse Racimus 11th, and Jesse his name is being mentioned on the charter bubble as I'm at a miserable start in this Fueled Up Racing number 80. I feel like even one single stage point would do wonders for his season if he could go ahead and pick up this spot in the final lap. One to go in the stage. Racimus versus Anderson. Schold and Burrell is the battle. Jesse's trying to find his way by. Anderson to the inside of Ryan Schold. That won't work. RC has to tuck in behind. Can Jesse Racimus do anything with RC Anderson for a stage point? Stanley works off 4. He will win this stage. It'll be Frankenfield, Novak, Fody, Cutlip, Vandermarl, Holmes, Burrell, Schold, and Anderson picks up the stage. Unfortunately for Jesse Racimus, he will get 11th in the stage, which is a darn good result, but it is not going to pay any points.
And now we can focus forward on these final, what do you say, 90 laps or so before we get to the end of this 200-mile race and see who's got to pick up the big prize at the end of it. Ethan Stanley's happy to pick up that stage win, but now we start looking ahead, like you talked about, probably a one stop if we don't get a caution. But again, who used up a little bit more to try and get in that top 10? Who saved it to maximize this run? When do you pit when we get around halfway to this run? We talked about it. Do you do the undercut? Do you try to run it dry? What is the game plan? It may only be one stop, but there's still plenty of strategy options on the table.
There are, but I think it's pretty straightforward from a driver perspective. I think I'm going to divide this stage in half. You're going to have to make a call, though, whether you want to do that or you want to take the undercut and try and run, say, 55 laps. With the fresher tires in that second half of the run, or you want to run, 55 laps down, then 45 laps on fresh tires and try to be the one coming through the field. But from everything we've seen, I don't think that tires are a huge deal. I think track position is a lot more important. So if there's a choice, I think it's, do you pit at 45 laps in this run, or do you pit at 50 laps in this run? I don't think anybody is going to gain anything by running long. It just seems like this car is set up to run, at kind of it plateaus quickly. I don't think we've necessarily talked about it, but generally what happens is your tires fall off, but they stop falling off at a certain point. They plateau. Your speed is, say, let's see, Zach Novak's running 30.4. He qualified it at 29.7. So he's fallen off like 0.3 of a second from his fastest time. Well, that's all that you're going to be picking up when you go put fresh tires on. It's about 0.3 of it, or 0.7 of a second. So that's not as big a gain as, say, like a Darlington last week, where you were going to gain a second to a second and a half with that undercut.
Well, I would agree with you for our people in the top 10 or so, right? But I do think you still have the possibility for people further back. I would say Daniel Gore, but he probably just lost a lot of life on his tires with that slide. But maybe somebody like Ryan Gable, but trying to get some track position after that incident. Maybe you roll the dice and you run it long and hope you catch a caution, right? Where if it goes, right up to the fuel window, where it's just long enough to, even those guys that have already pitted, if they've got 10 or 15 laps on those tires, they're probably going to come back down pit road with you. So I think that's where you might be able to see some different strategies when you start looking at the second half of this field.
I think you're right. I've certainly seen where you need to make a move if you're in the middle or back of the field. You have to try something. You're going to stay there unless you work at it. This field is too competitive, too deep from top to bottom for you to pass drivers all the way through. You have to make strategy calls. You have to find track position any way you can. This is the time to do it, right? To think about it now while you are, say, at the back of this field, right? I don't think Justin Wadsworth's thinking about it right now as he tried to go around Trey Holmes.
These guys right here are hanging on for dear life.
Trey Holmes is falling back really badly. I guess the 23 burned his stuff up, is what it seems like. He is backing up heavily right now. Just got blown, the doors blown off by Gerald Campbell, Justin Wadsworth. Here comes Norgard up to the top. He's holding up both Racimus's and Paul Mikolajczyk back there as well. This group is kind of where the caution will be if one comes out here.
That was almost 4 wide there. Definitely a very sketchy situation. Jaden does get a piece of the wall there.
Oh, man. Hibbs is looking to try to take him 3 any way he can. Jaden did get a piece of the wall there. Entering turn 1, they are 3. Adams way up top. It's Holmes in the middle. Hibbs pushes off the bottom. Luckily, they weren't 3 wide, and Gavin Hibbs had to get out of it, but his teammate Jesse Racimus gave him a little bump draft down the back straightaway, sends Hibbs into turn 3 pretty hard. Almost gets a piece of the wall, and the Channel 199 cars just behind almost got together in corner entry. This is a wild pack.
Yeah, this is definitely some wild stuff here. And you can still see a little bit behind this, still some side-by-side. Gavin Hibbs, I think, got into the wall there in 1 and 2. He'll keep it going the right direction, but starting to settle out a little bit. I think this is where we saw this a little bit, that first green flag run. Once you get to about, 20 laps in, that's when the people who've been managing their tires really come to life, and now it's up to them to try and find those passes because, like you said, it's just been so hard to gain that track position tonight.
You got that side-by-side battle we're tracking right now. Josh Adams, Trey Holmes. Looks like Adams will clear past the 23. Holmes gets a little piece of Adams on corner exit. Just behind, it's Seth Rawls, Paul Mikolajczyk, Ty McIntosh, and Caleb Becumer all side-by-side around 20th place. Closer to the front, R.C. Anderson worked his way from 10th up into 7th after that march forward during this, kind of that stage break area. And Ryan Scholl is starting to fall back. He's back to 9th, continuing to fade a little bit into the clutches of Ethan Burrell. But Burrell, I think, is also fading. Justin Wadsworth is here. Gerald Campbell and Leighton Norgard all hunting a top 10 spot.
Yeah, it looks like Ethan's just not super comfortable at the moment. Kept looking around Ryan Scholl, but wasn't really close enough to actually make a move, and now he's kind of fallen into the grasp, like you say, of Justin Wadsworth in that 6 car, Leighton Norgard in the 12, Gerald Campbell in the 31, having a pretty strong showing so far this evening.
Campbell is indeed having quite a good run, and you've also got Josh Adams, Gavin Hibbs there as well. They have cleared that back pack, which is still raging quite a bit, I would say. Mikolajczyk and Racimus side by side, McIntosh and Rawls side by side. In this group, Mikolajczyk, I believe, is going to clear Racimus. McIntosh sliding up against Rawls. He will not make that pass. Mikolajczyk does clear Racimus. Hogan working to the inside of Racimus now. And Jesse finished the stage in 11th. He's fallen all the way back to 18th, continuing to slide as Harrison Hogan working underneath for that spot. Yeah, you can tell who's, like you said, who's kind of saved their stuff and who's really starting to suffer for it, as R.C. Anderson takes away 6th from Vandermarl up ahead of this group. But yeah, they have really singled out, and up front, the battle is starting to heat up for second spot behind Ethan Stanley, who's really checked out since the drop of the green flag. Chad Frankenfield has held second the whole run in front of Zach Novak, but Novak really starting to put pressure on Frankenfield, and Tyler Fode's trying to lurk in the wings for when these two get side by side.
And Novak might be able to get there. Yes, he does. Frankenfield has to give him the outside lane there coming out too. Novak's got to complete the pass down the backstretch, and now Tyler Fode's got to toss it in and try to pick up that spot.
And he will. Tyler Fode with a really strong move to the inside around Chad Frankenfield, trying to stick with Zach Novak in that 42 car is Tyler Fode. Fode not going to be able to clear Chad. Chad uses the draft to get underneath Tyler Fode, but Fode able to kind of stay in the wake of Novak here coming off of turn 2, and down the back straightaway, that draft will likely pull him clear of Chad Frankenfield, and it does.
And now Tyler Fode's got to try and get around Zach Novak as well.
Into the inside of Novak goes Fode. Fode's been running some pretty good lap times in behind Novak. He side drafts, dumps some air on the spoiler of that 42 car, dives into turn 1, kind of uses that diamond, but the car tightens up on Tyler Fode. He washes up the racetrack. He'll be side by side with Novak, and that's going to present an opportunity for Chad Frankenfield. And I think if Chad sets it up right, he dove it into the corner. I think if Chad sets it up right, he could go 3 wide here down the front straightaway, but he's taken the more cautious approach to run the bottom. Here comes Fode up in front of Novak. Novak cuts across behind him, and they're side by side for second.
And of course, the biggest smile right now belongs to Ethan Stanley. He's watching this in his mirror as he just stretches out his lead. Zach Novak yes, he will clear Tyler Fode, but Fode's got to cut it down on the backstretch and get back to the inside.
Inside of Zach Novak goes Tyler Fode. Novak works the outside lane. Fode the inside lane. Didn't get as much get as high that time did Zach Novak. He's going to be cleared by Fode, and now he'll have to run turn 1 with dirty air being dumped on the nose of that 42 car. It's going to tighten it up on corner entry. Novak's going to have to probably lift a little bit. Fode's car getting a little bit tight on corner exit, but he'll hold strong in second spot, and he'll try to go chase down his former teammate Ethan Stanley. Oh, crash in the back. Gerald Campbell is sideways. He's going to bring out the yellow flag. He kind of saved it. I saw him cut sideways out of the field. I thought he was going to hit the inside wall hard. Ultimately, Gerald Campbell brings out the yellow flag, lap 67.
We'll take a look at the Revelist Photography replay machine contact there.
There might have been, no, Gerald was maybe getting tight, but Josh Adams runs the wall to try to get a run down the back straightaway here, but he just runs right into Gerald.
He just drives straight to the back of him. There's no real two ways around it. I mean, yeah, he built up the run, but you can't just. Gerald Campbell wasn't going to disappear. You can't just drive into the back of a guy like that.
Josh Adams will claim that Gerald Campbell got tight, and
well, of course, the guy in back always says, "Oh, well, what do you want me to do? He lifted in front of me, or he got tight, or whatever." Right. Well, your throttle pedal goes 2 directions too.
Yep. I was going to go into that, right? That's what he's going to claim, but the issue is that the guy in second has the choice. Do I just run this guy over, or do I lift and let us continue to race on? And I'll say it. I mean, I think it's just incredibly selfish to jump in there and drive through somebody on like that without giving them a chance to recover and catch themselves, you know?
Right. You can see, absolutely, he does wash up the track. He gets tight, which is that gives you all the more time to anticipate that and either lift and save him, or even try to cut to his inside, get the run down the hill, do literally anything other than drive into his back bumper.
Yep. Ethan Stanley wins the race off pit road. Let's go to a commercial break here. We'll come back with the result of the yellow flag and the restart.
Welcome back here to the Elite Racing Network. It's the Belly Up Sports Cup Series, live from virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Belly Up Fantasy Live Football 200. The Belly Up Fantasy Live Football Show is a weekly show giving you fantasy rankings, waiver wire advice, and game-by-game fantasy football analysis. Join the Belly Up Fantasy Sports crew on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page or the Belly Up Fantasy Live Football Show podcast. Check out bellyupsports.com for more information. That is bellyupsports.com, where you too can learn everything you need to know about the upcoming fantasy football season, NFL season, of course, kicking off tomorrow, as will my pursuit of the championship in the South Shore Racing Fantasy Football League. So, hope you suck, David.
Not gonna happen.
We're all in that league. Should be a fun one. I don't know, Zach. Who's your?
You will definitely need to watch the Belly Up Sports Fantasy Football
Yeah,
Live
that's
show
right.
if you're gonna beat me. Yeah, you're gonna need all the help you can get.
That's right. Who's your favorite pick this year, Zach? Is there a single favorite player to draft?
All of them.
All of them.
All of my players are amazing.
Pace
Jonathan
car
Taylor.
heading down pit. Jonathan Taylor from Dave. Pace car heading in with Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fode on the front row. Zach Novak, Jonathan Cutlip on the second row. Cutlip has made his presence felt for the first time today. Got up into the top 5 on that long green flag run, was biding his time. Now he'll have a chance to battle for the race lead as Fode and Novak working against one another, but the inside lane prevails on the restart. Tyler Fode falls Zach Novak, and he'll fall into the clutches of Jonathan Cutlip as well.
Tyler Fode able to really power into turn 3 on the outside lane there. Had to clean air on the nose of that 40 car and makes the most of it to get around Jonathan Cutlip. Now he'll set his sights on Zach Novak.
Fode took a while to pass Novak in the last run. We'll see if he wants to make that same choice. Novak has eaten into the lead by Ethan Stanley. We might have a battle for the top spot here shortly. Novak working towards it. Just Jay Racimus got a piece of the wall. Dusty Dewar did too. I think they saved it and everyone's all right back there. Big time snarling pack in the midfield. Up front, it is single file between Stanley, Novak, Fode, Frankenfield. But here comes Matthew Weeks with a really strong restart. Weeks into 5th, working for 4th around Frankenfield, and give it to the defending race winner, Matthew Weeks, moving forward.
Matthew Weeks doing the usual Matthew Weeks routine. Haven't talked about him a lot in the first half of this race, but now we're into the second half. We're past the halfway mark, and now it's time to talk about driver number 11 once again.
Yeah, James Watson likes to compare Matthew Weeks to the Kevin Harvick of the league. Mr. Where did he come from? And it's not inaccurate. Weeks does love to do exactly this in these races. Just bide his time. He qualified poorly, qualified back in 25th spot. Here he is as money's getting ready to be paid out. We're halfway through this thing, and Matthew Weeks is in the top 5.
It is almost clockwork. Almost.
Novak has gotten to Stanley's back bumper up ahead. Tyler Fode's a somewhat distant third, half a second back. These two red and black cars looking to fight it out for the win here at Las Vegas. Another one lurking in 4th. You've got only the purple number 40 of Tyler Fode amongst these red and black cars, because also Chad Frankenfield is there in 5th.
Well, you know, they always ask you in Vegas, do you want to bet on red or black? And either way, you're going to be in really good shape tonight.
Yep. I'm feeling like if I keep mentioning it, I'll eventually one of these guys will change their scheme and make it a little brighter.
No, they will not. They will not. If anything, we've only added red and black cars since we started complaining about it at Daytona. Case in point, Trey Holmes.
Right. Up front, the battle has kind of stagnated. Novak's gotten about as close as he's gotten thus far. First battle that I can find is between Leighton Norgard and Ryan Schold. You've also got Ty McIntosh working the top around Paul Mikulášek and Jesse Racimus. For McIntosh, that is a battle for the 18th, 17th position now, going around Racimus. So Ty started 40th on the day. He has worked his way up inside the top 20 and 17th spot here. A good little run for the 10 car. I say that hoping in earnest that I have not immediately announced or jinxed him.
Well, it can't go worse. I mean, I was talking about what a great night Gerald Campbell was having, and then we saw how that worked out. So, I mean, you can't do worse than me.
Ethan Burrell. Oh, Garrison Hogan, a piece of the wall. In the 55, almost smacked the fence down. Looks like that car is okay. McIntosh works to the inside of Rawls and Hogan now. I'm a little bit surprised, though. I mean, there's only a couple of battles on the track right now. This thing is really singled out after that last caution.
Yeah, it really has. And, well, of course, we say that, and now you see Garrison Hogan look to the inside of Ethan Burrell there. But I'm curious, you know, I don't believe we were quite close enough when we restarted this race for anybody to stretch it on fuel. I think we're still looking at a pit stop here in this, if this were to go green. Am I correct on that?
What lap did we restart? 67? Yeah, there's no way they can make it. I don't believe.
That'd be about 67 laps, so that'd be quite the stretch.
67. I mean, I'm seeing 62, 63 from some of those guys. I would try to save it. If you're running mid to the back of the field here, I mean, I'd save for it for sure. How else are you going to jump up here and win a race, you know?
Exactly. Even if it doesn't win you the race, it's got to get, if you're able to pull it off, that could be a top 10 on a night where you're running 25th. So, oh boy, I don't know if we're going to get that far though. That was really close there between, I believe that's, that's Justin Vandermarl and Ty McIntosh.
It's Seth Rawls up there. Vandermarl's up a little bit further, but Ty has been moving forward. He's been pretty aggressive on this run. I think that is an indicator that this 10 car is planning to pit and split this run in half, would be my wager, right? I don't know that we've seen a whole lot of other guys that are pretty aggressive. Maybe Matthew Weeks early in this run. But if you're going to be aggressive at this point in the race, then you're planning to run and pit and run hard again. So maybe some of these guys are thinking about saving and trying to make it to the end, and that's why you're seeing a lot more timidity throughout the field.
We'll see. I think that could certainly be part of it.
I'm trying to go on board with some guys and see if there's any lifting. I think if there's anybody trying to do it, I jumped on with Josh Adams as just a guy that usually has a crew chief. He's working among others, and you can see he's rolling out pretty early. I don't think getting on the gas until a little bit later in the corner. You can see it's kind of slowly coming up to speed. I think just kind of doing a natural save from Josh Adams. He got a little bit faster that time in the wake of Gavin Hibbs, but feels like he's not pushing as hard as he otherwise was in this race. So we saw him on the outside bumping into Gerald Campbell.
Right, and certainly I feel like when it's that long of a fuel run, when you've got this entire fuel cell to work with, and it's not a series like, Oscar where we run on Thursday nights. It's a lot easier to play a fuel mileage strategy. You have a lot more wiggle room. It's a lot easier to extract an extra couple of laps out of the fuel tank when you have 60 laps to find it.
Right. We'll have to see if some of these guys can make it to the end. I think it's very viable. At this point, you need to say probably 2 or 3 laps. I don't think you can do it at normal pace, so we'll see. But obviously we have to get that
helps.
far first. Yeah. And the draft, right? The draft does helps. But my maybe one pushback on that would be I think I'd rather probably be running without the draft. You have so much dirty air washing over your nose in the corners that when you would want to get out of the gas, your car's going to push. You have to slow it up even further. And then you have to accelerate off the corner to get back up to speed to stay with the car you're behind. That feels like it would burn a little more fuel. Whereas if you're Tyler Fode in third, you can kind of roll out early, let the car coast a little bit, get back into it, and you're not, having to push. You're just, by letting out early, you're naturally driving a little bit faster because you're not shoving up the track every corner.
And I think to your point, for somebody like Ty McIntosh or one of these other guys pushing hard, there's a good chance we're going to get caution, right? We haven't had that green flag cycle yet. So if people are going to back off and hope we stay green, go get them. Get around them, pick up those spots, and then if you do get the caution, that's one less person you have to pass on the last run of the race.
Ty's obviously made up some spots, but he's kind of somewhat stuck in 16th. At some point here, you'll find that the tires aging are going to make it more and more difficult to make those passes, right? That's why you had to be so aggressive on those fresh tires when they were brand new. Up closer to the front, Gavin Hibbs, and is working on a Leighton Norgard for the 10th position. And in fact, it's no longer a battle. Gavin Hibbs is up into the top 10, Norgard back to 11th, and Justin Wadsworth starting to work around this 12 car. And Norgard's pulled off some pretty impressive strategies a couple of times at Atlanta a couple weeks ago in the 2003 series. He started off the season or the race and ran about the same strategy I did, and then managed to save fuel until he was on the strategy that ended up winning the race. So he's a guy who can adapt within the race. And I know the last time I talked about him, he ran into Daniel Gore, but ears open, right? This 12 car it's backing up a little bit because he's trying to jump into saving some fuel and making it to the end.
Now we look at this side-by-side battle here. Paul Mikolajczyk on the inside, Seth Rawls on the outside. Mikolajczyk's got clear Rawls, only just coming out of turn 2.
Battle's been going on for about 10 or 15 laps now. Rawls and Mikolajczyk, Caleb Becumer, they have been slicing and dicing for set 18th, 19th, and 20th on the grid, and it's been hectic. I don't think there's any fuel saving going on in this group.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Here we look a little further back, and here's Scott Crump. He's got to try to pick up another spot here on Dustin Dewar. Oh, Dewar gets a piece of the wall. I mean, a big piece of the wall there. Crump, of course, trying to rebound from that early incident where he got damaged while racing with Blake Reynolds on the backstretch.
Dewar got a piece of the wall there, and the guy behind him, Michael Hosak, had also gotten a piece of the wall a couple of laps ago. Here's Reynolds, whose car is pretty heavily damaged to the point that he is running 40th on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, it seems like Reynolds came away the worse for wear in that situation. Not that Crump's exactly having a wonderful night by any means. He's, let's see, what position is he right? 27th at the moment, but definitely better off than Blake Reynolds as it stands right now.
Gavin Hibbs has lost a spot to Justin Wadsworth, has fallen back into the clutches of a Leighton Norgard up here near the top 10. This is 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th as Adams has worked his way back to the outside lane. Wonder if that car has either saved enough fuel or maybe was never saving for Josh Adams. As he works to the outside, he battles Garrison Hogan, also battling with a Leighton Norgard. Gavin Hibbs, as mentioned previously. Hibbs to the outside, Norgard down to the inside lane. Here comes Hogan, also to the inside of Josh Adams. And a 55 car's got a lot of speed. I think he's going to take it here into turn 1.
I mean, he really really carried a lot of speed into turn one, like you say. Could not quite clear Josh Adams there. They're going to stay side by side down the backstretch. And actually, it might have hurt him how much he drove in because it really got snug there on corner exit.
Yeah, and Hogan now loses that spot back to Adams, and Adams continues that momentum, tries to take it to the outside of Hibbs. Hibbs leans up, throws the block. Adams will kind of have to yield, and once you lose your momentum in this next-gen car, it just seems to kind of stall you out a little bit. And Adams now to the inside of Hibbs, but it feels like that outside lane will build up some momentum, and they'll do it all over again.
And certainly Hibbs is trying every trick in the book to hold off Josh Adams right now. Nothing dirty, but, you know, ran him pretty high through the tri-oval. A little bit of side draft here through the tri-oval this time. He's definitely employing a lot of those defensive techniques to try and keep that 22 car behind him.
They're trying. Now he's also trying to kind of pull Garrison Hogan around, and Ethan Burrell is also about to join this fight as well. So Hibbs clears Adams, Hogan clears Adams, Burrell jumps into the picture. Up ahead of this group, Justin Wadsworth has bypassed RC Anderson. RC starting to kind of fall back a little bit. Justin Vandermarle's held very firmly into the top 10 right now. He is still sitting in 7th spot. So very impressive run from Vandermarle for sure. That's a slot that I don't necessarily think I would have placed him in. But then again, I mean, the point standings tell the story, right? He's currently a playoff driver at this point in the season.
Absolutely. He's a guy that quietly has put himself in that playoff conversation in car 54, and right now running in the 7th position. We'll see if he can keep this up. I'm kind of curious. We're now at 34 to go. I think if we were going to see, like you say, guys, split this green flag run in half, it's getting close to that time where you would start seeing guys stuck down pit road. I'm kind of curious. I guess this is where we're going to find out what the game plan is.
33 now this time, and there'll be 33 to go next time by. So, yeah, it's one of those where I think maybe they can make it. Maybe we were right in our initial calculations. But my assumption, of course, is that these guys do need to pit again. You also can't pit and not get the yellow, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, if you pit now and everybody else makes it, or the yellow comes out right after you pit, you're kind of out of luck. So it puts you in a tough spot, right? Obviously, you probably run hard early in the run. You want to make that pit at the halfway point in the run, but then you get to this point, you're sliding around a little bit. You're like, well, maybe somebody will spin it out, and I can come on pit road under caution.
Yeah, I think that's the tough part. Is this is roughly where we've seen the cautions every time so far, right? So, when do you pull the trigger? If you wait too much longer, I don't know how much time you'll have left to reap the rewards of it. But like you say, you don't want to be caught on pit road and then the caution comes out either.
We haven't seen anybody ducking down for pit road, so to me that would indicate you could probably make it to the end, which, I mean, maybe these cars are naturally slowing up a little bit more than they were at the start of the race. They're increasing their fuel number as we go, and there's a lot more confidence on the pit boxes that these cars can make it 67 laps on a single tank. Seems like a lot, but no, Matthew Weeks is calling pitting in. There we go.
All right. We'll see who will follow. And let me tell you, if you were thinking about pitting, hearing Matthew Weeks, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it.
He made it. Maybe. Did he get down to pit road speed?
Maybe.
Not black flag, Matthew Weeks. Yep, black flag. Did not make it.
Well,
black flag, too fast entering pit road.
Just as I was about to say, if Matthew Weeks is pitting here, it might be a good idea to pit.
They did not get the penalty cleared in time.
You can still pit, but don't do that, because that's going to be a killer.
Luckily for Matthew,
pass here.
Yeah, luckily for Matthew Weeks, race control did clear the black flag. So in lieu of a 40-second hold, he will have to do a pass through, same as your regular NASCAR series that will take Matthew Weeks out of the running for this win. But luckily for Matthew Weeks, he has won a race. He won the Daytona 500. The points impact will be not too severe, but in all likelihood, he will not win this race tonight.
No, that's a heartbreaker for sure. Because we talked about after that poor qualifying effort being able to get up front, and looked like it was going to be the kind of night that always just seems to work out in Matthew Weeks' favor, but that pit road speeding penalty, absolutely a killer.
We saw it coming too. You saw he was very, very aggressive. Oh, Caleb Pacumer sideways on the back straightaway. Jesse Racimus is around as well. The caution is out.
Oh, and it gets worse for Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, and there it goes. Did he stay on the lead lap? He might. No, he's a lap down. Seth Rawls had also pit. So Seth Rawls will get the lucky dog, and Matthew Weeks will be stuck one lap down. And there's the contact between Pacumer and Racimus. And it looks not dissimilar to the contact between Reynolds and Crump earlier in the race.
Pretty similar. I will say on this one, maybe the 59 gets a little bit loose.
I think there's a little of them moving together on corner exit here. Can we get a shot of this on like the TV style broadcast, Dave? I like the behind shot, but I also like seeing what happened in real time. That's tough because you can see that. You see that 59 car start to move down like he was getting loose and about to lose it across the nose of Jesse, but then Jesse's car just moves up and turns Caleb. So I do not envy our race controls, Dominic Wright and Sam Beltwell, on this one. They did already rule that the car on the bottom was at fault for a previous incident, though. That was that one. Yeah, that one was a little more. I would describe it as obvious.
Yeah, for sure.
Strategy has taken place on pit road and on the racetrack. Matthew Weeks has stayed out to grab the wave around, so he will get back on the lead lap with fresh tires. He'll just be at the back of the field. So that kind of saves him, actually.
You say fresh tires.
They're one lap on him.
Yeah,
they're fresh.
Fresh enough, I guess.
He will not be at an advantage. But let's go to our final commercial break here tonight, and then we will be back for you the rest of the way.
Now let's hear about Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pick-me. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Welcome back to I'll pull up the name of it, the Belly Up Fantasy Live Football 200 for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series here at Las Vegas, and they are going to give it to Caleb Pacumer for causing the yellow flag. Up front, two new names, Johnny Thomas and Kyle Hanshaw, have stayed on the racetrack. Ethan Stanley will restart third. Ethan Burrell will restart fourth. He took 2 tires on that pit stop. Zach Novak will restart in fifth. Garrison Hogan took 2 tires. He will restart in sixth. Strategy.
Far be it from me to question a former Daytona 500 winner in Johnny Thomas, but I just don't see this one working out, David.
I don't see it working out either. I'll tell you what, I'll always admire someone for going for it. I don't know that this is the way I would have gone for it, but we'll see what happens for Johnny and Kyle. I envision that this may cause a pile up here. Base car is off. Johnny Thomas is the control car up here in the number 83 Belly Up Sports Machine. Green flag is out. A good restart for those Kyle Hanshaw Racing Chevys. Those new tires probably going to blow their doors off here entering turn 1. Johnny clears up to the top around Hanshaw. Burrell able to get to the bottom in front of Novak. And Ethan Stanley works that inside lane. He'll probably clear by Johnny Thomas down the back straightaway. That they did pretty good job there to kind of stay out of the way. They might even be able to hold on to a top 10 running spot for a couple of laps here.
We'll see how it works out, but certainly right now, Ethan Stanley able to get out front. Ethan Burrell almost across the nose of Johnny Thomas there, but he will move into the second spot.
Stanley first, Burrell second, Novak clears Thomas for third. Now Hogan moves up and into Johnny Thomas. Chad Frankenfield and Hanshaw are bouncing off one another, and Hanshaw's in the wall, along with Chad Frankenfield. Cautions out, field scatters, and I think, Jaden Racimus gets a piece at the end. It was going to be a two-car incident between Chad and Hanshaw, and Jaden Racimus got collected right at the end of it.
Hold on. Okay. Go ahead.
I think we need to go a little further back here, Dave. Yeah, let's see. I think we'll see what happens. No, not that far back. Just into turn 1 there. You already know Chad's thinking about going 3 wide. He loves him some 3 wide.
Here we go. This is where it's going to happen. Yep. Chad goes top of 3. And that's always a little... That's a tough spot to put a guy on old tires in. Because he's not going to have the grip. He's not going to be able to hold it the way you would like in that situation. You really don't want to be on the outside of a guy on old tires. And it's not Hanshaw's fault. I mean, he can't... This isn't a dirt car where he can lean on the cushion, right? That's about as high as Kyle can comfortably run, and sure, there was a lane there, but boy, and I'm sure from a race control standpoint, it becomes a conversation of is the fault still technically Kyle Hanshaw's because he washed up the racetrack, and that may indeed be the case, but golly, we talked about it at the start of the night. Chad Frankenfield once again has a chance to put together a really strong run and then just can't help himself.
I mean, what's the cost of waiting right down the back straightaway? Maybe Hanshaw comes off the corner a little light, and you can get to the inside of him. And I don't know what happened to Jaden. It looks like when Jaden got on the brakes, that car snapped to the right.
Which does happen with this next-gen car sometimes. I feel like maybe he just got on the brakes too hard, and like you say, it snapped it to the right. Caught him by surprise. And there you see it. Yeah.
Yeah, they will give it to Hanshaw, but, I'm with you, Zach. I have a hard time putting 100% of the fault on Kyle Hanshaw for that one, because 5 other cars got around him in 3 wide situations without causing an incident there. And, I guess even more than that, probably 6 or 7 cars got around him without causing an incident.
You could not only that, but you couldn't ask him. I mean, he was staying, not nose to tail. There was certainly a car length or 2, but in line with Johnny Thomas to make it as easy as possible for the fresher tires to facilitate passing both of those guys. They were not doing anything to cause an issue there. And
here's the restart. I thought for being on old tires, I thought those two did a pretty solid job.
Absolutely.
Of not putting anyone else in harm's way.
And I was just about to say, to that effect, because you almost saw some contact with Johnny Thomas about that same time as, it was actually right here. He just gets doored by Garrison Hogan. And fortunately, that didn't lead to an incident, but very similar thing. I don't, there's nothing Johnny can do in that situation. He's giving the lane and just a bad situation all around.
Yeah. 20 laps to go here in the Belly Up Fantasy Live 200 for Ethan Stanley, Ethan Burrell, Zach Novak, and Garrison Hogan being that front 4. You've got Tyler Fody alongside Johnny Thomas, who's on those older tires. Jonathan Cutlip, Justin Vandermarl, Justin Wadsworth, and Chad Frankenfield. And what's Daniel Gore doing? Oh, he might be lagging out.
He's
Yeah, I don't have
lagging
Daniel
out.
Gore
He's got some
anymore.
technical issue.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame for Daniel Gore. Huge jump for Ethan Stanley up at the front. Big time block from Cutlip on Wadsworth at the bottom of the racetrack. And up top, you got those two tires riding that outside line. That's not going to be enough to hold off Zach Novak. Novak clears Ethan Burrell. Burrell will be side by side with Tyler Fode down the back straightaway for third. It's the Channel 199 Toyotas that have been up front all day long. It's Stanley and Novak up front. Fode will battle Burrell through turn 3. Hogan and Cutlip are 5th and 6th.
I'm very curious for Johnny Thomas here. Now that you've got a cycle on everybody's tires, is he going to be able to hold his own even more now? We'll see. Right now, the battle on the screen. Oh, well.
No, the answer is no. That car is a little bit slower. It's not too much slower. It's a tenth or two slower, but that is, when you're packed up like this, that's so much slower.
As it is, we watch this battle for third. Ethan Burrell getting in front of Tyler Fode. 17 laps to go. Ethan Stanley trying to run away and hide. Mostly singled out here in the top 5. I say that, and right there, Garrison Hogan gets that car is really tightened up on him on this run, and Jonathan Cutlip's going to get by him here.
I think the two tires not working for Garrison Hogan. He was tight on that first restart, tight on this one. Cutlip clears on past. That battle that Johnny Thomas had been a part of is now no longer featuring him. It'll be led by Justin Vandermarl for the 8th spot, R.C. Anderson in 9th, Chad Frankenfield running 10th. You've got a Leighton Norgard, Ty McIntosh right there in the battle as well. Josh Adams working to the inside of McIntosh. Hibbs is in this as well. Big group of cars running for this top 10 spot, but that top 7 have kind of broken away ahead of them. 16 laps to go. Frankenfield and Norgard side by side for the 10th spot on the money. Frankenfield has it. Norgard wants it. Works to the inside of Chad Frankenfield. The damage on that 15 car doesn't seem to be hurting him too much. And Ty McIntosh works to the outside of Norgard.
Just was able to stick that nose to the outside of the blue and purple 12, and we'll see if he can get the run here out of turn 4. I mean, you talked about it. The time for saving tires is over, and Ty McIntosh has shown he's been able to go on the offensive a little bit here early in the runs.
And he has, and he will here. Norgard unable to get around, but he kind of forces McIntosh to wash up a little bit. Adams gets in the draft behind. This battle allowing Chad Frankenfield to scoot away. McIntosh will clear Norgard here in 3. Norgard washes up in front of Josh Adams. Mikolajczyk jumps into this fight. He'll try to get around Adams. Adams to the outside of Norgard.
Mikolajczyk's got to dive to the bottom here. Adams got to try to take it 3 wide on the outside. Don't think he's going to be able to get the run, and neither is Mikolajczyk. Just could not build that momentum off the bottom lane there. He's actually got to fall behind both of those guys.
Good battle here for this 10th spot up front. Ethan Burrell holding Tyler Fode up drastically for the 3rd position. Justin Wadsworth going after Garrison Hogan for 6th, and he will get it on the outside lane. Tyler Fode would really love to get around the 2 tires of Ethan Burrell and get some clean air on the nose of that 40 car. But right now, Burrell fighting for all he's worth on the podium.
Burrell looking to the inside as they go through turn 3. Like you say, trying to get the clean air. Just cannot quite get all the way alongside Ethan Burrell.
Bringing Jonathan Cutlip right to the back bumper of Tyler Fode. We know he won't give any sort of drafting help to Fode. Fode's going to have to now play defense against Jonathan Cutlip as Burrell continues to hold him back. And that is just allowing those Channel 199 cars to drive away. Crash behind! Ryan Gable's around 3 cars hard into the inside wall. It's Gable, it's Trey Holmes, and Scott Crump have all crashed on the back straightaway, and they will re-rack this field once again with 11 laps to go.
Crump with the telltale smoke trailing from that 90 car, and they just ran out of room there. 3 wide. We get a look here on the Ribless Photography replay machine. Crump probably did not have the 3 wide call here, which is unfortunate. So he's drifting up the track, expecting it's just Trey Holmes to his outside. Indeed, it was not. Yep. And all 3 cars kind of meet. Certainly, Ryan Gable couldn't go any higher, and Trey Holmes was right there on his quarter panel. They just ran out of room there, and there you see that's the damage to the 90 car and the 23 as well, with a lot of damage. That is probably night over for both of those cars.
Pulsitor right there, Trey Holmes as well. Tough break. And yeah, the meatball flag for Holmes and Crump both. Those cars will be required to make repairs. The one thing this does do is it allows Matthew Weeks to get back on the lead lap.
It's also got to bring a lot of guys down pit road. I'm very interested to see how this works out, because you'll be restarting with 6 or 7 to go here, so you're gonna have some guys further back in the field trying to pick up some spots on fresh tires, but a lot of guys still on the racetrack. So we will see. What
there
happened
was some
there?
extracurriculars, it appears.
What happened there?
I'd back it up with this camera angle. Interesting. I mean, he go through him?
He went through him.
Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if at some point they got too far left, so they stopped making Yep, see you, driver. Which really tells on you when that happens. Once the invisibility kicked in, because we're too close to the pit stalls, it shows Scott Crump was not turning left. So it'll be interesting how that is received.
I'm not entirely sure why Scott's...
well, they're definitely both driving into each other. It's not a one-way thing.
And then Scott ends up hooking through. Yeah, well, they're both cars are done already, I think. So, there's not a lot you can do, but man.
Well, there's one thing you can do, and it's not pick up a penalty for contact under caution. But I guess both of those guys really wanted to do that, so we'll see how that works out for them.
Yeah,
I, for one, would prefer to not have penalties versus having penalties, but not everybody agrees with me on that.
Crump ends up getting the tally. I was going to say, to me, the thought is that's really I'm sure it's already either a racing deal or it feels like it's already a racing deal or Crump at fault, and then Crump's the one leaning on Trey Holmes for some reason. I don't know. It felt like a late race crash, pretty racing dealish to me.
It's a tough deal. It's hard for me you can't be mad at Crump for that, because again, especially with the iRacing spotter, I'd be very surprised if he knew he was 3 wide there and just a miscalculation while racing hard at the end. Nevertheless, we're about to restart here with 7 laps to go.
Yeah, an adventure on pit road. Nevertheless, 7 to go in this race. Ethan Stanley's going to have the advantage on the bottom. He gets going early in the zone. Zach Novak will have Tyler Fode helping him out here into turn 1. Ethan Burrell gets a really good start. He'll be firing down into 1 against Novak. Justin Wadsworth clears Fode and jumps to the inside of the 40 car. Burrell is clear for second. Novak and Fode falling back. Here comes Wadsworth. Here comes Cutlip working for the lead. Burrell clears Novak for the second spot.
Novak got to go way upstairs and try to get a run out to the outside of Ethan Burrell. Not going to be able to get there this time. He will now cut all the way to the bottom in front of Justin Wadsworth.
Wadsworth has really come on strong in the later portion of this race. That 6 car is looking mighty fast. Can he get to the inside of Novak here? No, but a good run out of turn 2 for Justin Wadsworth. He's made it to the back bumper. They're 3 and 4 wide behind them. The battle is for second. Ethan Stanley is clear and set sail in the clean air. It'll be Burrell, Novak, Wadsworth, and then a battle between Fode and Cutlip.
And boy, they were almost leaning on each other out of turn 4 where Fode and Cutlip. We'll see if they can keep those two cars pointed in the right direction here in the closing laps.
Fode's going to clear Jonathan Cutlip out of 2. Here comes Hogan behind Jonathan Cutlip. Not able to get there is Hogan, and Cutlip will be in behind the 40 car of Fode. Fode working back towards Wadsworth, and Novak has cleared Burrell. Here comes Justin Wadsworth underneath Ethan Burrell as well.
Where does Ethan Burrell go? Does he try to follow Novak? Does he go to the outside, take it 3 wide? Well, he can't go lower. Wadsworth really runs him up the hill going into 1.
Wadsworth trying to find that diamond. He will get there. Justin Wadsworth through to 3rd. Tyler Fode now to the back bumper of Ethan Burrell in those 2 tires. Here comes Tyler Fode to the inside of Ethan Burrell. A fantastic move by Fode. He'll clear Burrell. Almost gets a hold of Wadsworth as well. And now Fode will battle for the podium with Justin Wadsworth and Zach Novak, but they are still half a second behind Ethan Stanley, who has dominated this race.
And we've said it so many times, this is exactly what Ethan Stanley wants to see. These guys racing so hard behind him. He's been able to run away and hide here. It'll be 2 laps to go next time by.
Yep, 2 to go next time. Zach Novak's not going to have enough time to settle it out and go get Ethan Stanley. He'll need a caution flag. And even then, I don't think that's going to be enough. The leader has such a big advantage on these restarts. That might be the yellow. Ty McIntosh through the grass. He'll get the pit road. He's going to come back up the track. I don't think that'll end up bringing... Oh, it will bring out a yellow there. More cars coming. That was contact around Chad Frankenfield, Garrison Hogan, and a few others.
I believe, Josh Adams has got to bounce off the wall here.
Oh,
and
I believe...
Elect Ty McIntosh.
I do believe that will be Josh Adams' second tally of the evening.
And Ty had almost saved that, but then the left side tires just did clip the paved part of pit road there and led to a loss of traction.
What's really unfortunate for poor Ty is race control has cleared the black flag for sliding through pit road. That doesn't go away, though. He's still going to have to go to the back of the field after pitting here for damage. Like, that's just a brutal penalty. Right there is where he gets the penalty.
Right. Which, I mean, he was still going to lose all these spots anyway, obviously. Right. But not to mention he's going to want to, I would assume, pit for those repairs. But, I mean, he was in contention for a top 10 and now ends up on the wrong side of that ordeal after Josh Adams gets into the fence. Definitely a tough break for Ty McIntosh. And
with the lack of attrition, Ty went from 11th or 12th in the running order down to 37th. I mean, absolutely brutal. That's unfortunate for Ethan Stanley, though. Again, I was just about to say it. The leader has such an advantage on these restarts. He can pull such a big gap by choosing when in that restart zone to go that it feels like there's not much of a chance now that Stanley can lose this race. It'll take a Herculean effort from Justin Wadsworth or Zach Novak to be able to get up there and get a hold of Ethan Stanley and, side draft or dump some clean air or dump some dirty air onto the nose of that 91 car. And it just seems like it'll be very difficult. But I do have to note, how about the guy we just showed on the screen running 12th right now, Blake Reynolds? That's quite a comeback for a guy who was in the inside wall and running 40th for the better part of 3/4 of this race.
And we're closing in on another guy that, it's not going to be super attractive in the box score, but when you consider where he was about 30 laps ago, the 11 car of Matthew Weeks has worked his way back into the 24th position here, and he's got to have a chance to pick up a few more spots on this restart.
Yeah, being able to parlay speeding on pit road into a top 20 that's a pretty good overall effort. For a guy who definitely expects more out of himself. But, I think Matthew Weeks would overall have to be pretty satisfied with the day if he were able to grab a top 20 out of tonight.
And, of course, for fans who may be new or new-ish, looking at a green-white checkered restart here, how that works on iRacing, pretty simple. If we get a caution here on the first lap of the green-white checkered, we'll try again. maximum of 3 attempts at the green-white checkered. However, once the white flag is displayed, it's a race to the checkered flag. The caution flag cannot wave at that point, even if we wanted it to. So once you see that white flag, it will be a race back to the checkered no matter what.
The most smart, the best memory that of some of you might remember back to the last time we had a green white checkered at one of these 1.5-mile tracks. Well, really, it was this track, Las Vegas. We piled up about 25 cars on the final lap last time through, and there's Josh Adams with the second caution contact.
Brother,
he says it'll be appealed,
what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I need to keep my mouth shut. We're about to restart.
We're going to restart. Ethan Stanley, Zach Novak on the front row. Stanley will get going in the restart zone. Novak got a pretty good jump, all things considered, but Stanley will have that clean air. It'll be up to Zach Novak to try and make something happen here.
This is as close as anyone's been to Ethan Stanley on a restart. I don't know if it's going to pay off or not, but this is really the first chance we've seen Stanley going defensive. He's feeling the pressure.
Stanley tries to cut that draft snake to the bottom lane. Novak trying to stay in his wake. Wadsworth goes for the clean air up top. They make it around for the first lap. It'll be white flag out. Novak working the apron, trying to find any extra speed he can. It'll be Wadsworth hunting him on the outside. Fody down to the bottom. Novak lower than Stanley. Stanley the defensive middle line in turn 1. Down the back straightaway they come. Everybody able to keep it straight. It's Ethan Stanley working the lead. Mirror driving around it, Zach Novak, and it will be Ethan Stanley off turn 4, taking home the checkered flag here in the Belly Up Sports Fantasy Live Football 200. Zach Novak and Justin Wadsworth make up the podium. Tyler Fody finishes 4th. Ethan Burrell comes home in 5th. And a clean finish overall. Despite a few yellow flags down to the wire there, Ethan Stanley has captured his second checkered flag of the season, and it'll be the 5th checkered flag for Channel 199 on the year. Congratulatory bumps for a long-time Elite Racing regular Ethan Stanley. And we will go ahead and look at the results for this race. I mentioned the top 5. Jonathan Cutlip came home in 6th. R.C. Anderson wrapped up 7th. Garrison Hogan finishes 8th. Blake Reynolds comes home with a 9th place finish after all that. Chad Frankenfield finishes in 10th. Leighton Norgard, Ryan Schold. That Josh Adams finish may be short-lived. Justin Vandermarl 14th. Gavin Hibbs 15th. Gerald Campbell 16th. Paul Mikolajczyk 17th. Jesse Racimus, the front page of our results here, and we'll go ahead and grab some
No, we won't. They need
drivers. I guess not.
No, they have to actually join the waiting room if
There
they
they
want to
go.
be spoken to. There we go.
There's one. We'll talk to Zach Novak first.
No, let's get yeah.
That's fine. We'll talk to runner-up finisher Zach Novak first. He was the first one in the Discord. So, Zach, David in the booth, you got me?
Yes, sir.
Zach, P2 tonight. Couldn't best your teammate Ethan Stanley out there. What was it going to take to go up there and pass that 91 car?
Yeah, the air was tough, man. Really, really tough to maneuver around it. The setup was pretty tight, so it really just eliminated the bottom of 1 and 2 over that long run, and especially at the end when the track started to cool down a little bit. It kind of just took away the bottom of 1 and 2, unfortunately. So it limited the options a little bit in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, I started to figure out right down on the apron, like putting your left front on it, like Kevin Harvick was pretty good. So able to find some speed there, but unfortunately I was trying to search around and find something, and I just really couldn't. He was doing a really good job of managing the gap and putting his car where it'd be tough on me to make up any time. So at the end of the day, second's good, and we'll keep on keeping on, and hopefully we can string together some good runs in a row.
You mentioned that battle all night to try and find a way around Ethan Stanley, but at the end of the day, definitely a good team night for you and Ethan. How much confidence are you able to just keep building with this strong start to the season your team is having?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm super confident in all the guys we have. They're obviously super experienced in this league and really good drivers. So, in terms of having success as a team, I think that's kind of what we expect every race is to have someone in contention for the win and running up front. And just glad I can do my part in that and put together a good run.
Zach, obviously, second sucks, but for a guy who's pretty well locked into this championship and having had a pretty good night last night as well.
Yeah.
What does this kind of push you forward? Are you just hoping for more runs like this, where you're in contention and trying to prep for our playoffs as well as any other playoffs you might already be a part of?
Yeah, last night obviously was really good. Played out pretty good for us, so very happy about that. In terms of these races, I want to run up front, build the respect of these guys that are running up front consistently, and get to know them, and so we can race better, right? If we're more comfortable around each other, we're going to race better. So that'll help put on a better show for the broadcast and people watching, and hopefully make the league more appealing to new people that might want to join. And the goal is just to put on a good show, and if we can win, great. If not, then we'll go back next week.
Well, before we let you go, who do you have to thank on this runner-up finish here tonight, Zach?
Yeah, just as always, thanks to Washer Tech and all of our partners on Channel 199, Sim Racing, Racecraft, Yobo's Designs, Track Racer, Splash and Go Graphics. Thanks to everybody that helps put our program on. Thanks to everybody for putting the league on and letting me run here every week. I've had a lot of fun so far, and looking forward to the rest of the year. And thanks to you guys for the broadcast as always. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Sounds good, Zach. Well, we appreciate it, and good luck in the next couple of weeks.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.
As runner-up finisher Zach Novak will grab P3 Justin Wadsworth and give him the quick rundown. Justin, really good run from you tonight. Climbed up to third from starting 23rd. What was it going to take to get those extra 2 spots tonight?
Man, I just track position. Let me just start by it's so great to hear your voice, David. It's been a while, man. Did a terrible job in qualifying, got loose and won there, and it kind of put me in the back of the field, starting 20 something. And man, the dirty air tonight was just incredible. It was so hard to pass, especially if the guy in front of you knew how to use it to their advantage. And got a couple of good restarts at the end there, and managed to come on P3.
You definitely touched on it. That dirty air was just so treacherous tonight. What did you have to dig into in your toolbox to be able to work your way through this field after that qualifying effort?
Honestly, I tried to save tires earlier in the race, and it didn't really do me too much good. I felt like the biggest thing was just really trying to take notes of where the other guys are running. Because if you can put your car where they're not, you could kind of, you get that clean air on your nose. That makes a big difference. Another thing I was doing is I was just taking a super high entry and then just riding the hill all the way down on exit, trying to carry as much speed as I could. And then I'd try and keep them, run them wide in 3 and 4 if I could, things like that. Taking advantage of the people hitting the wall, that was another big one. But yeah, I will say it was tough out there. I wish it was a little bit hotter, honestly, to kind of spread the field a bit more. But yeah, it still was a lot of fun, and I'm super stoked to be able to move up to the field like that.
Justin, you're one of those guys that's going to be hunting for those points to get into the playoffs here. A good run like this definitely helps. What's the mindset moving forward as we kind of approach that playoff push part of the season?
Honestly, man, just stay steady. I feel like I'm almost kind of like a Matt Kenseth. I'm not like flashy, but I'm there for top 5s, top 10s almost every week. I mean, I had a rough week last week when Trey got loose and washed up to me and Stanley and kind of knocked us out of the race. But I've had speed, top 5 speed. Even in the other series, I had some bad luck lately. I felt like at Darlington the last 2 races, and the Gen 4 and in the Cup car, I had top 3 speed, top 5 speed for sure, especially on the long runs. But you guys know how it is. It's racing. There's a lot of luck involved, and sometimes I get a lot of good luck too. So I'm not complaining. But we'll just keep doing what we've been doing. I think I was 3rd in standings before Darlington last week when the bracket got set. So hopefully just carry some of the momentum into the playoffs and keep knocking out the rounds.
Well, you talked about being excited to hear David's voice. You might feel differently about that by the time we're done with a couple of days in Chicago here this weekend. But before we let you go, who do you have to thank on this 3rd place finish here tonight, Justin?
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm so excited to get together with you boys. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, shout out to the family. I always give them a shout out. So I guess, I feel like I do the same shout outs every time. So I just want to do 2 tonight just to kind of keep it quick. I'm sure you guys want to get to Stanley. One, just going to be best friends. It's for animals, for shelter animals, adoptions, things like that. It's a no-kill foundation. I ran St. Jude's last season and did the charity race, and I'm doing something similar again this season. We're going to have a charity race after the season, and I'm sponsoring the championship race in the Cup Series. And then my second shout out is going to be just Ethan Burrell. He's been such a cool guy. It's been so awesome, being on their team and him bringing me in here and working with them. And he's always actually, even when I was back in ARCA and won my first championship there, kind of starting out in Elite, he was always in the chat rooting me on. So I just want to give him a special shout out tonight. It's been awesome to be on Pro Edge. And I still love Fody if he's listening. But yeah, I've been having a blast this season for sure.
Gotcha, man. Well, congratulations on P3, and hopefully we get to interview you a little more, maybe a little on Saturday too.
All right, sounds good, guys. I'll see you this weekend.
That's pretty cool. See him this weekend. Let's bring Ethan Stanley to the booth and close out these interviews. Race winner Ethan Stanley. We talked to you at Pocono, and I don't think we talked to you since, buddy, but dominant win from you tonight. I'm looking at the stats. You led 116 of 160 or 134 laps. How'd you do that?
Well, I've always been pretty decent around here. I honestly think I think 300 laps of practice I did last season for the finale really helped. It's a different car, but it drives pretty much the same. You just gotta use the aero a bit different. But yeah, it just felt like I was driving an Indy car out there on a Thursday night. Just take the clean air away from the guys behind you and just try not to burn off the right front too much.
It's interesting you mentioned that because like you said, it seemed like taking away somebody's air was huge as far as defense, and even we saw you doing the snake down the backstretch on that final restart, which was really probably the closest we saw anybody able to restart to you all night there with Zach Novak. Did it kind of catch you by surprise how important the aero and the track position was tonight?
I think I lost you for a second there.
Oh,
I didn't lose him.
Nope. I cut out. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. He asked about the losing the track position, running like an Indy car, weaving down the back straightaway.
Oh yeah, you gotta hang on to the track position. It was so valuable tonight, especially after the first couple laps. And yeah, at the end there, I was weaving down the backstretch, just trying to not let him get a run. Zach was a bit quicker on the long run. There's nowhere for him to go in the dirty air.
And Ethan, obviously, you've already got the win. This gives you that second win going into our playoff format. And I know you hate to hear it, but you've yet to reach that championship level in this series. You've won all the other ones. So what's it going to take to finally get this one? And as you've kind of shown that you can beat that 42 car, and if given that opportunity.
Yeah, I felt really good at Darlington. I just never got the chance to get back up there. I felt like I had maybe something for him. I don't know. He lapped the field. But yeah, I wish I knew how to get one of these championships. I can win like 6 races in a season, and it's just, once that final race comes up, I choke it out. I don't even know where it is this season, but I don't know.
I want to say it's Homestead. I could be wrong on that.
Oh, I like that track.
It keeps popping up here. We'll get to it.
He'll rotate eventually. While we're waiting on that, who do you have to thank on this win here tonight, Ethan?
Yeah, as always, a big shout out to Racecraft Academy for bringing me on this season. We'll be in teammates with all of them. Big shout out to JD Designs painting all these paints I run throughout the weeks. And big shout out to Apex Gaming PCs and Next Level Racing for being the sponsors of the team. And big shout out to you guys up in the booth. I always love watching these back. And big shout out to Chad and the admins we got running all this.
Chicagoland appears to be the final race of the season, so not a very dissimilar track to this one.
Well, I hope we can get a better setup there than we've had in the past.
All right. Well, congrats on the win, Ethan, and I'm sure we'll see you up here shortly in the booth.
Yeah, see you around.
Race winner Ethan Stanley. That'll close up the Belly Up Sports Fantasy Live Football 200, guys. And that'll close us off until we've all met in person. Saturday should be a fun time. And we'll throw out that YouTube link probably in the description or something as well. You'll see it, I think, on the Elite Racing Network. Am I right on that, Dave?
I actually don't know where they're going to broadcast it. Probably on the
they're going to throw that somewhere else?
We'll put it on our socials. We'll send it out to Chad, and we'll put it there, and we'll send some pictures. All sorts of good stuff.
Should be fun. I'm excited for that. So that's tune in for that. Tune in for us next week, same time. For all of us here at Elite Racing Network. We'll see you next week. Have a good night.